to the Harbor Springs Area Chamber of Commerce and our sponsored State of the Community. I'm so sorry we are not truly face-to-face this year, but I'm glad that we will be able to have the State of the Community as we were not even able to have this last year. So welcome back. Nice to see so many people. And thank you to our presenters. So I will go ahead and kick things off with Michael Kernicke, our newly appointed chair for the Harbor Springs Area Chamber of Commerce. Thanks so much, and thank you, Michael.
Well, thank you, Bonnie, and welcome everyone. Thank you for taking time out of your morning. This used to be a lunch, so thanks for getting up early. Thanks for getting to us before you go to work. Your kids have gotten to school, so we appreciate you being a part of it. And thank you to the leaders that are here today. So, you know, we as residents of this community that we think is very special, you know, the visitors here come to Harbor Springs. I mean, it's an iconic city. We all know that. But it's really the residents, the leaders, the values that we share, the business community that makes us so special. So the mission of the Chamber, of course, is to promote and enhance and contribute to the success of the business community and the visitors' experience. So, you know, what we tried to do in the leadership in the past and present is, you know, we try to be the essential resource for the community. And, you know, as I look back over the past year, you know, this time last year, I mean, all of us were sitting here with a lot of uncertainty. And, you know, for us, we didn't have a director and we didn't know exactly what the future is going to be, certainly from a financial standpoint and what was going on in the community. None of us knew. And so we fast forward to today. And as far as the Chamber is concerned, I'll tell you that we're in a very good position. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that we brought Bonnie Culp on as director, and you know, she and Angie and Jim and certainly the board, you know, we tried to jump in and do whatever we could to support this business community in any way we could. You know, Bonnie and Angie came up with so many great ideas, and you know, frankly, it kept the Chamber afloat from a financial standpoint, but it really meant a lot to the businesses in this community. So I've got to give a special thank you to Bonnie. She's just made an outstanding impression, let's say, within the community. And, you know, it's real easy to see her love of Harbor Springs, her love of the community, her love of the residents. And, you know, we're all blessed with her passion. So, Bonnie, kudos to you. And Angie, you know, at a time when we were looking for what was going to happen, you know, you stepped up and did so many things, and you've just been a critical part of our success. And so thank you, Angie. And Jim, you know, you've been a terrific mentor to both of them. So I'd be remiss if the board, speaking for the board, we thank you, the three of you, very much. You know, my mom always said, you know, this too shall pass. And so it will, and with any hope, our Harbor Springs community will just become as vibrant as it has been in the past and continue to grow, and we're going to get back to some kind of, and you know, we'll get back to a very bright future for what's ahead. You know, and I think all of us would sit here and say, you know, if we can get to a parade and some fireworks, I mean, gosh, wouldn't that be great? And I think on that day, we're all going to be very thankful. So, you know, this community is so great, and it's great because of all the people that make it so great. So, you know, the Chamber is really many times the first point of contact for visitors, whether they come to the office or they go to the gazebo. You know, and our staff and volunteers, you know, they're the people that promote this community and show these visitors everything that this community has to offer. So I can assure you that the leadership of the Chamber, be it the board, be it the staff, you know, we're going to continue to try to enhance and contribute to the success of this community. And we just appreciate all the support that you've given us. And, you know, we've got really good people in place. The future looks really bright. And I thank everybody again, and best wishes and blessings. This is going to be a great year, and we're all going to be a part of it. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael. I agree. We look forward to a wonderful year. Welcome, Lynn. We will go to you at the end so that you can do the wrap up. Our wonderful sponsor, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan. Thank you so much. We are now going to go to Michael Biermann with the Harbor Springs area schools, Superintendent of Harbor Springs Schools. Michael, we need you to show your video and unmute. I see you coming. There you are. Thank you so much. Thank you, Michael. We appreciate you being here and taking time out of your day to tell us what you are seeing for Ann Arbor Public Schools.
Ann Arbor.
Oh my gosh, I am so sorry. That's Harbor Springs. Harbor Springs. I apologize. Thank you, Michael.
That's okay, Bonnie. You know, I don't know about Ann Arbor Public Schools. I think they had quite a bit of conflict whether to return face to face or no, I really appreciate the opportunity, and I would just assume turn that little shield that says HS on rather than you all having to look at my less than pleasant mugshot. So but anyways, again, thank you for the opportunity to discuss the state of Harbor Springs Public Schools. And like so many of us, including individuals, families, companies, and organizations, school life as we knew it changed dramatically about a year ago on March 13th, 2020. Although difficult in the beginning when all schools in the state were shut down from March through June, I am immensely proud of our staff, our students, and parents. Although never designed to be a virtual school, our staff and students quickly adjusted and ensured that learning occurred last spring by developing an expertise in remote and online learning. In August of 2020, the governor's office laid out a roadmap for reopening schools, and Harbor Springs Public Schools put together a task force comprised of staff, administration, the health profession, and parents to develop our own reopening roadmap consistent with the state and CDC guidelines on school reopening at the time. And I'm pleased to say that with great efforts on so many people's part, Harbor Springs Public Schools has been able to provide full-time face-to-face instruction for its students grades pre-K through 12 since day one on September 1st, as well as operate its child care program for infants, toddlers, 3 and 4-year-olds, and after-school care for our K through 6 students. Along with this, we have offered an option for K-12 students to be enrolled fully online as well. The first semester, about 18% of our students were online. In second semester, we have about 12% of our students online. Our teachers provide instruction for online students in grades K through 5, and the district contracts with third-party vendors to provide online instruction for our secondary students. Yes, Harbor Springs Public Schools has been successful in reopening school for the 2021 school year, but it's not been without its challenges. Many mitigation efforts had to be put into place, including setup of classrooms to allow for social distancing, an enormous amount of plexiglass partitions, enhanced cleaning and disinfecting measures, and of course, wearing masks for the majority of the day. Rethinking typical routines, events, and traditions has also been necessary. Volunteers and parents are not allowed in schools. Indoor field trips or overnight trips are not taken. Performances have been canceled, and large assemblies of students do not occur. It sometimes can be a challenge to keep our students properly masked, as you can imagine, especially in the older grades, but generally speaking, our students have been great. We've been fortunate to compete successfully in both fall and winter sports, but with shortened seasons and some modifications. To date, we've had about 28 reported cases, positive cases of COVID in our schools. The good news is since January 1st, we've only had 3 cases. When there is a positive case, contact tracing typically quarantines a large number of students and staff. At our highest peak back in November, we had nearly 100 students and staff quarantined. Right now, we don't have any students or staff on quarantine. Knock on a lot of wood, but we know that that can change quickly. As we move into spring break, it is our hope that students, staff, and families keep in mind COVID safety so that our return in April does not bring with it outbreaks at school. And leaving COVID for a bit, here are some facts at a glance that you may or may not know about the school district. We currently have 742 students enrolled, 652 are face-to-face, and 90 are online. We are down about 40 students from last year. HSPS boundaries consist of the city of Harbor Springs, as you know, as well as 7 townships covering 127 square miles and transporting about 1/3 to half of its students on 5 bus routes. Our K-12 program includes a comprehensive curriculum with an emphasis on the arts, physical education, and enriching electives, including an interscholastic athletic program with 9 boys and 9 girls sports. At high school, our students have options of taking AP courses, dual enrollment courses at Nuckmuck, in which they earn both high school and college credit, and they can also participate in over 15 career and technical educational offerings. Our students continually score amongst the highest on standardized assessments across the region and the state. The district operates a pre-K program that is partially funded through the state of Michigan Great Start Readiness program, as well as a fully licensed child care center for infants through 4-year-olds with an after-school daycare program for students in pre-K through 6. The district's general operational budget for the 2021 school year is about $14.5 million. The district also has separate funds for food service, bonds, student activities, and community schools, in which our community pool is part of. The district is continually adjusting and monitoring its programs, facilities, and staffing needs to ensure that we're bringing excellence to our students and community. In 2020, a new strategic plan was approved, highlighting objectives in 5 goal areas: academics and programs, culture and learning environment, personnel and leadership, communications and community involvement, and operations. We're pleased to say that new initiatives in all areas have taken place. The district has several new potential academic programs, including expanding its music and video production classes at the high school level, exploring new dual enrollment opportunities with Nuckmuck that are held on grounds here at Harbor Springs High School, and gaining CTE status of our world-class drones program that would open up even more opportunities. At the elementary level, we've partnered with Shoreham ISD and are fortunate to have a full-time literacy coach on board to help guide and facilitate the attainment of early literacy skills in our youngest students. During the past year, the district has developed a strong partnership with the Health Department of Northwest Michigan, which operates the Satellite RAM Wellness Program in our schools. 2 mental health therapists and 1 school nurse are on site full-time to service our students. In 2019, the district contracted Plant Moran Cressa to conduct a thorough facilities review. As a result, $30 million were identified as critical needs in our facilities, with another $10 million identified as deferred maintenance. The Board of Education is now in the preliminary stages of addressing these needs, including funding mechanisms. The board has contracted PMC again to provide consultation that would include the usage of our schools, long-range educational vision, enrollment projections into the future, and our grade level configurations. Currently, we have 4 schools serving 742 students in addition to pre-K and childcare. Quite frankly, this doesn't make sense from an operational and efficiency standpoint or an educational perspective. The district is looking at moving its K-12 students onto 2 sites, the Shea Middle School campus and the high school campus. This would leave several options for Blackbird. However, keeping in mind that Shea Elementary School is incredibly outdated and needs extensive renovation. These are the kinds of discussions that will be taking place as the district weighs its options. In May of 2022, the district does have an opportunity to pursue a no tax increase bond proposal that would raise capital needed to address our facilities needs. So, as you can see, the district has been quite busy with the past and present. We consider ourselves very fortunate to be part of such an incredible community, particularly the business community, which continually supports our schools. We await an exciting future as we pursue our vision, excellence in character, excellence in education. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael. I really appreciate it. From the Harbor Springs School District, our superintendent, we really appreciate the update and looking into the future. We are now turning to Margo Damoose, our Director of Harbor Springs DDA. Welcome, Margo, and please give us a few minutes and let us know where the DDA is headed this coming year.
Thank you, Bonnie, and good morning, everyone. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to you about the state of our downtown. 2020 has been a challenging year for everyone, and particularly so for downtowns. Over the past year, we have worked hard to make the Harbor Springs downtown a place that people feel safe shopping and dining, all while creating a welcoming atmosphere with social distancing in place. This has been an incredibly hard balance to strike. Throughout the past year, we have sent out surveys and have been in constant communication with downtown businesses, property owners, and restaurants, trying to gain their needs during these never before navigated times. The DDA has tried to assess how comfortable businesses were with reopening in light of COVID, as well as being a liaison between the downtown businesses and the city, making our best effort to keep the lines of communication open throughout the community. While we did see a decline in business downtown as was expected in 2020, many businesses reported faring better than initially thought that they would. We have given out nearly $5,000 in PPE reimbursement to our stores and restaurants after receiving a grant from the Petoskey Harbor Area Community Foundation. But unfortunately, due to COVID-19 and other factors, we have seen a turnover of some businesses downtown. But I am excited to say that we will have new stores opening this season in downtown Harbor Springs. We will be welcoming 2 new stores as early as this spring in April, and expect that more retail stores will be in place by this year's busy season. One effort that the DDA has led the way in is in expanding outdoor dining options in downtown Harbor Springs. We have looked at the many different options, from closing streets to using restaurant parking spaces. And while we did not find these to be viable options, with Main Street being a state highway, we focused our efforts on Marina Park, where we worked with the Parks and Rec Department to create an outdoor public eating area. The DDA led a fundraiser to purchase new picnic tables for the park and was able to raise funds for 7 new picnic tables, with the city purchasing an additional 5 tables. We may continue this effort for 2021 as outdoor dining has become a greater necessity in these times. Also, I'm very excited to be part of the new Marina Park Committee. I know that this will be an exciting effort to create a beautiful and useful space in Marina Park for both locals and visitors to Harbor Springs. Our hope is that as we work to enhance Marina Park, it will draw more people to the heart of town and shine a spotlight on all that we have to offer. Additionally, throughout the past year, the DDA has worked extensively to develop a plan for the Main Street streetscape. We have worked with engineers and landscapers to develop a long-term vision for our downtown. And while we will not be embarking on this project in 2021, we hope that this plan will be implemented in the coming years. And the DDA is actively working to ensure that the trees will be beautified with flowers and gardens as we head into the coming tourist season. As we continue to assess other areas of need throughout the downtown, another area that has been a major focus for us has been addressing in the DDA is parking. After much feedback, we have seen that there may be a need for permit parking for businesses, employees, or property owners. In the DDA, we are looking into the option of creating a small permit parking lot. This would allow those that would like to have a parking space the opportunity to lease one, while leaving the majority of parking throughout the city to be free to the public and hopefully increase street parking for visitors to town. With the busy season just around the corner, we are excited for all that is planned for the downtown this coming year. Even though we had to put on a hold on many events in the downtown over the last year, we were able to successfully continue some events such as the Farmers Market, Blessing of the Fleet, Street Music, and so much more. And most recently had a great response and turnout to this year's Ice Fest. Having just wrapped up Ice Fest with over 40 sculptures throughout the downtown, which drew people to our stores and restaurants, we can see that our community is excited to see what more is coming this new year. In the DDA, we will be working to promote these long-awaited events like 4th of July, concerts and movies in the park, festival in the book, and also working to promote our excellent restaurants, stores, and service providers. I hope that as we work to enhance downtown Harbor Springs, that businesses and community members will continue to reach out to me and have open communication so that we can work together to create a vibrant downtown and draw more people to Harbor Springs throughout all times of the year. Thank you.
Thank you, Margo. Super exciting to hear all the new things that will be happening this summer, continuing street music and also new events that we'll have going on. It's wonderful to work with you, with the Chamber, and I thank you for all of your help. Next, we are moving to Victor. There we are. Sorry, computer glitches. Victor, I welcome you. I thank you for being here from the City of Harbor Springs as our city manager. Please give us an update for the city.
Thanks, Bonnie. I'm glad to be here. I appreciate it, even though it's not lunch or breakfast. Maybe next year we can get some pancakes and eggs, but no, this year is fine. All right, well, thanks again for having me. I want to kind of echo the sentiments of the previous speakers, Margo, Michael, and the other Michael. Yeah, COVID has definitely, threw in a wrench for everyone, but I would say I'm pretty proud of our community. We have managed to, band together, and just work out solutions to at least bring back some sort of normalcy for our community. And now, while it doesn't resemble what it looked like, 2 years ago, we still managed at the council level, for example, to temporarily ease some restrictions for outdoor dining and for other usages of outdoor space. We did have an anonymous donor that donated over $30,000 to pay off people's electric and utility bills. So we did it. I mean, this is just from the city perspective. Of course, we had a lot of other nonprofit organizations and working to help our community out. So overall, while it's been a tough year from both a business standpoint and just I guess a personal well-being standpoint, I think we've managed to really come together, and compared to a lot of other places in the country have managed to come out of this so far pretty on the upside. That said, we are still not through with this. So we still have limits to in-person meetings, but we are back to in-person meetings. So that is exciting. There is a cap of 25 people, but that will slowly change. Hopefully outdoor events will make our community just as thriving as it was before. And we're working with the chamber and other groups to just fill our parks and our public spaces with events. We're going to do that smartly. We're going to make sure we're following all the rules. And if things take a turn for the worse, then we'll have to adjust. But right now, we're all pretty optimistic that our summer is going to be pretty busy. A lot of people are going to be outside, and we're going to have a lot of fun while staying safe. Some other things I want to touch on here, just a few things that the city has been working on. One is since I've been started here, council has really taken a initiative to do more energy conservation and renewable energy projects. So this year, probably in April and May, you will see solar panels on some of our city municipal buildings, including Ford Park, Josephine Building, the skate park building, as well as the fire department. So that'll provide the city with solar energy. And as you know, we have our own electric department. So we'll actually be able to sell that electricity back to our customers instead of buying it from other sources. So that's just one step to kind of go local with our energy, as well as to go green with our energy. We also have installed EV charging stations at the Marina Park parking lot, or the Harbor Master Building parking lot. And we're going to see how that goes this summer. We know that electrical vehicles are on the increase, and we're just trying to plan for the future. And hopefully it's another draw to our community. So when people come to Northern Michigan and they need to charge their car, they can say, hey, there is a charging spot downtown Harbor Springs. I don't have to go to Petoskey or Boyne City or elsewhere. We are also working with the Harbor Springs Sewer Authority District on a potential solar project at their site. They have about 150 acres of unused land, and they're really interested in utilizing that land for revenue. And for us, that would mean, if we were to make this happen, the sewer authority, which we are part of, we would get some money to improve our sewer authority from leasing out that land. And as well, the city could potentially buy that energy that we produce there. So this is all really exciting. It's all things that, you know, come in the future, coming now. So it's really something that we're proud to be moving forward on. You know, despite the pandemic, we managed to still do some infrastructure projects. Last year, we repaired some water lines on West 3rd Street. We replaced the electric pedestals at the city docks, and we repaved part of Pennsylvania Avenue. This year, we were hoping to complete several projects. One Margo had mentioned was the streetscape project. Unfortunately, it didn't work out this year, but we're hoping in the next few years we'll be able to come back for a more defined streetscape project that will go through. Other projects though that we're doing this year is we're replacing hundreds of linear feet of sidewalks. We're going to be resurfacing our pickleball courts. We're going to be landscaping the FEMA spillway here at City Hall. We're going to repair some sewer lines on Bay Street and replace the water main to a well inside town. So we have a lot of projects moving forward. They're necessary projects, street, water, as well as some parks projects. So we're happy about that. I also want to say that we had a few staff changes here. We hired a Parks and Rec director who started late last March and last April, and that's really was driven by a demonstrated need by staff as well as an interest by the community and council to do more with our park spaces, to do more with programming, and to do a better job of just communicating what we have to offer and managing that space better. So Denny McDermott has been working a lot, I know, with Bonnie and Margo here to work on events and things going on in our parks. He's also working on a Parks and Recreation plan that we hope to have some sort of tentative plan, and then in the upcoming years go to a full-blown Parks and Rec plan like we had back in the early 1990s. But speaking of planning, we are also working on updating our master plan, and the master plan is supposed to be updated every 5 years. Because of COVID, we kind of missed last year a little bit, but we did manage to put out about 12 public surveys where we've received, on each survey, you know, between 150 and 350 responses from the community. So we do have a fairly good understanding of what the community wants with the master plan as far as goals and objectives. And we are working on that master plan at the Planning Commission level. It's a slow process, but it's better to be slow and get it right, because we're talking about the vision of Harbor Springs here and what our land use is going to look like, what potential zoning ordinances could look like, and what our goals are for our community. And, you know, part of those goals include, people have mentioned before, but housing issues, getting more full-time year-round people here, making it more attractive to diverse groups of people, especially age-diverse groups of people, so we are more sustainable. So we're focusing on all these different issues in our master plan, and we have a few new Planning Commission members, and we're really excited to go forward on that. Kyle probably will talk a little bit to this, but we hired one of our officers retired last year, Matt Pater. We hired a new full-time officer, Mitchell, the young one. You see him walking around probably. And we also had another part-time officer that we hired. Going back to plans for a second, though, we did also pass and approve a tree plan. The tree board has been working diligently for about a year to year and a half on a tree plan, trying to get all our objectives and goals with creating an urban canopy on paper. And we took that to council last month, and council approved it. So we are excited about that. Council also has been approving a lot of cool things lately, and one of them is a new logo, and it's a modified version of our old logo, but it really makes a big difference. It's modernized, and it's more culturally sensitive and accurate, and it's just been received pretty well by a lot of people. Of course, you can't always make everyone happy, but sometimes you just have to make a decision. I believe that logo is going to just help with the marketing and branding of the city. A few more things here. I want to say we had a great high turnout for elections this year. Despite the pandemic, we had about 75% voter turnout, which is amazing, and we hope that continues going forward. Of course, being a contentious national election, that drove more people to come out to vote, but we want to continue seeing more people participate in our elections and participate in city government. To that end, even when the pandemic ends, we will continue be providing Zoom and YouTube or other remote options for the public to participate in city board meetings. While eventually all board members will have to be in person, we do want to give the public easier access to government, and we want to ensure that our government's as transparent as possible. So we will keep our videos up. We'll ensure access to all these meetings by everyone, and especially for a lot of our part-time residents or residents who aren't here year-round, it gives them an opportunity to attend from far away. I think this is just another beneficial part of technology, and another, I guess, a positive aspect of COVID, which there aren't many, but one of the positive one was if we really are starting to master remote meetings and just becoming more normal. So it's really not that big of a deal anymore. Before it was a little like, oh man, we have to set up everything, but now it's just kind of like part of your duties. You wake up, you set it up, and it's there. Wrapping up here, I do want to say that we do have some changes coming to basic city things. We have online payments coming. We already have online payments for taxes. We're working out a few glitches to be able to get online payments for utility bills. So hopefully that's coming soon. We also are going to be allowing people to register for text message SMS alerts from the city. So usually you can register with the CCE for emergency alerts, but we also want to be able to communicate to our residents about if there's a water main leak, if there's a road closure, if there's a parade going on, just things that necessarily aren't quote unquote emergencies, but that we want to communicate just to Harbor Springs residents. Our population has increased, probably by a fourth to a third in the past few years. We're up significantly in registered voters. If that's going to remain the same or not, we don't know. But that does have implications for our city, which is good, obviously mostly positive, but that means there's more stress on planning and other government services. So we just need to be more aware and diligent of the fact that we have a limited government staff and we're trying to do a lot more than has been done previously. So please be patient with us. I'm trying to emphasize communication and customer service here at the office. And for the most part, our staff is doing a good job, but we're always open to feedback, criticism, positive, negative feedback. We want to make sure that we're here to serve the people and the businesses. With that, I don't have much else. Well, I do have a lot else to say, but I think for this purpose, I think I've emphasized what I needed to do. I think we have a great community. The chamber's been doing really well especially with events this year. Bonnie, I'm so glad you're on board. It's great to be able to have constant communication about a lot of different initiatives. And I love the collaboration between our staff, between your staff, as well as between other entities in the city and the area. So good luck, and I'm here for whatever you guys need.
Thank you, Victor. That's wonderful. Lots of exciting things going on. We now move to the newest member of this group, Jen Knapp, who joined Harbor Inc. in November. Jen, we'd like to welcome you up and give us a little update on Harbor Inc. and where things are headed.
Good morning. Thank you, Bonnie. I'm Jennifer Knapp. I'm the executive director for Harbor Inc. Harbor Inc. is a nonprofit-based is a project-based nonprofit that takes our community needs and turns them into action. Thank you for the opportunity to share with you today some of our current projects. First, the Loft co-working space. The Harbor Inc. resides in the Loft. That is where my office is, in downtown Harbor Springs on Main Street. At the Loft, you can reserve space for a day, week, month, or even purchase an annual membership. Business is picking up with the coming of spring, and the space has a new arrangement to accommodate a more distanced work environment and fresh look. Last summer was a very busy time at the loft with so many remote workers, and the need for private space became very apparent for Zoom meetings and conference calls. To accommodate this, a privacy pod phone booth was purchased and is in place for use. You're welcome to come by and check it out, the new look and the privacy pod for yourself. Another project that we are excited about right now is the Wheelway. Harbor Inc. played a big role in extending the Little Traverse Wheelway through Little Traverse Township to Kazaquat Park on the east end of Harbor Springs. That project was largely completed in 2010. It was always envisioned that the official Wheelway would ultimately extend into downtown Harbor Springs, but unfortunately that was not part of the previous project. In 2018, Harbor Inc. formed a committee to pursue completion of the final segment called the Harbor Way. In collaboration with the City of Harbor Springs, the Harbor Way Committee was all set to pursue a Harbor Way route that crossed M119 at Tourist Park, run along the south side of M119 to Zoll Street, and then along Bay Street to some point in Marina Park. However, when the Shade Drain Floodway project came about in 2019, we saw an opportunity for a less expensive, easier, most importantly, safer crossing of M119 by using the large shade drain culvert as an underpass. As such, the project was put on hold. Since the shade drain floodway culvert was completed in 2019, the city has been in discussions with MDOT about getting approval to use the culvert as part of the Harbor Way route. Unfortunately, MDOT's unofficial response was undecided, but not promising. They did leave the door open a bit if certain conditions can be met. Last month, this project was discussed at the Harbor Springs City Council meeting, and they approved going ahead with submitting a formal application, which will involve some engineering costs by the city. So at this point, we are waiting for the application to be finalized, submitted, and officially reviewed by MDOT. Unfortunately, it appears that meeting the required conditions may mean that this option will not be a cost savings, but in any case, it will certainly be safer. Whatever option is eventually pursued, Harbor Inc. is committed to working with the city to promote the project and help raise the necessary funding. Next, I will share with you the current happenings with Little Traverse Bay Housing Partnership. This partnership encompasses a large number of committed community members and different organizations that are passionate about providing solutions for our current housing crisis. The Little Traverse Bay has been advocating for two projects that are currently under review by the Michigan State Housing Development Authority, MSHDA. Both projects are seeking low-income housing tax credits. One project would be in the city limits of Petoskey near the downtown. It is a 60-unit multifamily housing project called The Lofts at Lumber Square, and the developer is Han Development from Harbor Springs. The second project in front of MSHDA is Victory Square. It is a 50-unit multifamily development on tribal land where the former Victory's Casino was located. This is a project of the Little Traverse Bay Bands of Ottawa Indians. The housing partnership met with the director of MSHDA, the director of the Department of Labor and Economic Opportunity, and met with Representative Damoose advocating for these two projects. They also provided letters of support and encouraged others to provide letters as well. Another project taking place is with the Northwest Michigan Habitat for Humanity. Construction is underway in Odin that will provide 3 modular homes and 1 refurbished existing home. Over the next several months, they will also add a modular in Alanson and a site-built home in Pellston, led by the Pellston High School trade students. The partnership continues to work with local units of government on input to master plans and general education about the housing crisis. Planning commissions and boards are receptive to changes that support housing initiatives and recognize the scope of the housing crisis. With support of the Fry Foundation and the Petoskey Harbor Springs Area Community Foundation, as well as other donations, the Little Traverse Bay Housing Partnership was able to hire a part-time project coordinator this year. That's the good news, but the bad news is that the position is going to be vacant soon. So we're in the process of hiring and transitioning to a new individual to help lead local housing projects. Lastly, I'd like to talk about the Emmett Housing Solutions Fund. In late 2019, again in partnership with the Fry Foundation, the Community Foundation established the Emmett Housing Solutions Fund with reducing barriers to housing development at the pre-development stage of construction. The fund will focus on capacity building for nonprofit organizations and local government agencies, land acquisition in Emmett County, and supporting pre-development activities such as feasibility studies, environmental testing, site preparation, infrastructure development, etc. The fund is set up to make both grants and loans, and we are currently seeking to raise at least $500,000. Thank you for your time. I look forward to working with all of you in the future.
Thanks so much, Jen. We really appreciate it. Very exciting. So next we will turn to our Chief of Police, Kyle Knight, here in Harbor Springs. Kyle, take it away.
All right, thank you, Bonnie. Bonnie told me I was last, and I sort of feel like with the NCAA basketball tournament starting, like I'm the guy that comes off the bench when the game's out of reach, but all the winners have already played, so I'll just finish it up here and we'll move forward. So first of all, I'm Kyle Knight. I'm the chief up here at Harbor Springs. The nice thing about Harbor Springs and being a chief in Harbor Springs is I'm just another officer. This community allows me the opportunity to go out and work the road, and I enjoy that. And it's a great place to work. In 2017, I moved up here. I previously worked for the St. John's Police Department, the Clinton County Sheriff's Office downstate. I've been a police officer for 33 years. I'm married to my wife Denise for 35 years. And the cool thing about that is she's moving up here this April. When I first moved up here, I think the first 2 years, it was sort of funny because people say, does he really have a wife? And I do really have a wife, and coming in April, you'll see her quite a bit. So I don't know if that's going to be good or bad for me, but I sort of like my freedom, but it is all for the good. So a little bit about our department and our beliefs. I instill, and hopefully the guys go, that we treat everybody fair and with respect, and we be personable and approachable. Those are my beliefs. I want us to have compassion and empathy for everybody we come in contact with. And I've always been a believer, and I was taught this a long time ago, that some people might call the police and they might only have one contact in their life with a police officer. And it might be a smashed mailbox or something like that. And I want anybody who comes in contact with one of our officers to have a positive experience and to make that a good thing. And the old sheriff told me that a long time ago, and it stuck with me, that I want to just have a positive influence with the people we come in contact with. I'd like to see our department become, we're in the schools. I felt like over the last year, because of COVID, we sort of got away from that. Next year, I want to get back into the schools quite a bit more, as well as deal with our elderly and the faith community. A little bit about our department. We have 6 full-time officers. That includes me, 2 part-time officers, a Marine patrol officer. Dean Cousins been here 37 years, and an administrative assistant. We have 4 patrol cars, 1 boat, and several police bicycles. One of my goals this year is to try to get out on the bicycles a little bit more. Our staffing's changed a little bit, so I think that's going to be doable. The neat thing that just happened, Victor spoke about being energy proficient. Council gratefully approved a hybrid car, so it's part electric, part gas. So that'll be the next addition to our fleet. A little bit about our staff here. When I arrived in 2017, our average age was 56 years old. That was good because we had a lot of experience, but we didn't have some of the energy of the youth. Like Victor said, due to retirement, we changed some officers. So our average age now is 43 years old. Quite a drop, 13 years. With that, we still have the experience of like Officer Timmons and Officer Johnson, but we have the youth here, like the new guys that we hired. Since 2018, when I did the last report to the community, we had an Officer Swiss, who grew up here in Harbor, Officer Tyler Hoff, who came from Williston, North Dakota, but he brought some experience. Officer McPherson, he came from the Traverse City area. And then we just added a part-time officer, Nick Strobel, who currently works full-time for the tribe, but also is going to be working part-time for us. His ultimate goal, I believe, is to come here full-time. So it's going to be like a nice transition period for him. And then we added administrative assistant, Emily Britton. We stole her from the prosecutor's office. She's been a great addition to us, and she's brought some different ideas. And so I'm really pleased with our staff. We have, if you don't know, we have Big Tyler, who's 6'5". We have Little Tyler, who's 5'6". And then we have Mitchell, who's 6'5" as well. So we yield a pretty good basketball team. Accomplishments for last year. One of our biggest ones is we're accredited through a national organization called CALEA, Commission on Accreditation for Law Enforcement Agencies. And once every 4 years, they do an on-site review where they come, and what they do is they look at all of our policies, we look at our reports, they make sure that what we say we're doing, we're doing. We're only one of 13 agencies in Michigan to be accredited through this organization, and we're by far the smallest agency. To give you an idea, like Ann Arbor, a lot of departments have 2 or 3 accreditation officers, and all they do is they come to work every day and they work on policies and procedures. Tyler Hoff and Tyler Swiss are our accreditation officers, and they do it while they're still working the road and taking complaints. So our on-site assessment was done by a lieutenant from a suburb of Atlanta, and it was done remotely, but we passed, and that was a huge accomplishment. Both Tylers worked hard to get us prepared for that. And then the other thing I thought, or another accomplishment for last year, is training. Even with COVID and a lot of the training was shut down face-to-face, we were still able to do some training. And one of the most important ones was fair and impartial policing. It's a great class. Everybody in our department attended. And I felt like with what happened in Minnesota, it was a good opportunity for us to sort of brush up on how we could treat people better. We transitioned to 12-hour shifts, which I was encouraged by. Even though the officers are still working 80 hours every 2 weeks, it gives them more time off, more days off. Instead of working 10 days every 2 weeks, we currently work 7 days every 2 weeks, and they're really liking that. And the biggest accomplishment I'd say for the year, besides CALEA, was we stayed COVID-free. Our department was huge because if one of us, I know they were tired of me sending out emails, but every week I send an email out, social distance, wear your mask, make sure we're doing things right. Because if one of us got COVID, I was afraid that we were all going to get COVID. And like one of my friends downstate, he had to close his department for a couple of weeks. So I didn't want that to happen. Statistics for last year, parking tickets, we issued 786 parking tickets compared to in 2018, we issued 410. It was up quite a little bit due to now that we can chalk downtown, as well as Ford Park saw a lot of activity. Traffic tickets, we gave out in 2019, 538 verbal warnings. Last year, we only gave out 413 verbal warnings, and we issued about 95 tickets each year. The traffic contacts were down a little bit because of COVID, but we still were able to maintain that ballpark, which assists us with our crashes. In 2019, we had 75 crashes, and last year we had 66 crashes, so it decreased by 9. Crime statistics for the year, knock on wood, we've gone 2 years without a breaking and entering. That's not many communities can say that. I probably jinxed ourselves, but hopefully we can keep that going. We had 5 larcenies last year compared to 7 the year before. The big spike we have is in frauds. We have a lot of internet frauds, and they're all time consuming. Officer Timmons and Officer Hoff are both have done 5 search warrants over the last 3 weeks to try to get information on these internet frauds. And also we're handling a embezzlement case right now, which involves an elderly person here in Harbor Springs, was taken for over $13,000. But all in all, the crime's down, I would say down a little bit, and I'm pleased to report that. Unfortunately, some people think we have no crime here in Harbor Springs, and that's not the case. Last year, we had a criminal sexual conduct complaint where we sent an individual to prison for over 4 years. Officer Timmons did an outstanding job in that complaint. And like I said, I'm working on the embezzlement complaint. And then last year, I don't remember, we had a stolen car that was recovered downtown, and we actually arrested the individual. It was stolen from the Traverse City area, and he left it downtown Harbor Springs, where we were able to catch him. And of course, the biggest thing for the year was a bomb threat. What I'd like to report on that is we do have a person of interest. The FBI is helping me with that, or they're doing most of the work, but we do have a person of interest that we're working to try to get some charges on. Community service, we do a lot of lockouts. We did 45 vehicle unlocks. Last year, we did 1,300 property checks. We go out, and at night while you're sleeping, we check doors downtown, we check the mall, we check people that go away for the winter. So, and then we did 700 foot patrols, which was down from the year before. The year before we had about 1,100 foot patrols, but that was a lot to do with COVID as well. I didn't want the guys to get out quite as much as we had in the past. And we take a lot of found property in our office. Last year, we took over 80 items of found property, cell phones or whatever that is. Sunglasses, wallets. Well, fortunately enough, we're able to return those, but probably about 95% of it gets returned to the rightful owner. Upcoming goals for next year, I would like to get into schools a little bit more. Like I said, I'd like to get into the ride our bicycles more often. I felt like we've been neglectful on that. And then last thing is, we had a department meeting, and I maybe do a survey, send out a survey for community input to how we can do things better. Run out of time here, but in closing, I really love it here. It's a great place for me to work. I said this in 2018, I'll say it again today. When I head down to St. John's, which is outside of Lansing, and I'm driving south on 75 and 27, and I see all the people coming up north on a Friday or Saturday, I'm like, this is a great place to be because everybody wants to go here and live here. And I'm just blessed for that. And I just want to stress, at our department, I live by the 3 C's, commitment, community service, and compassion. And I talked to the guys about that. And if there's any time that you guys see anything, hear anything that we can do better here at the Harbor Springs Police Department, I have an open door policy here in our office, and it applies to all of you. Anytime you want to walk in, come in and please say, Kyle, I think we can do this better. I think we can do this better. That's it. Bonnie, thanks for having me. And the last thing I'd like to say is we rely on you guys. With myself, our officers, and you guys, we're all the eyes of Harbor Springs. If you see something, please call me. And we have a great place to live, and I'm proud to live here and call this my home. Thank you.
Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, everyone. I want to help us close today by introducing Lynn Harvey, who is a Senior Account Manager for Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan supports the Harbor Springs Chamber financially in many of the things we do, and we cannot thank you enough, Lynn, for what you do for us. You are a major sponsor, and we're just forever grateful for all you do. So please, Lynn, tell us a little bit about Blue Cross Blue Shield Michigan and what we need to know about you all.
Well, thank you. We really appreciate the opportunity to be able to sponsor events like this and partner with our community leaders. It's actually truly been wonderful to hear about all the progress and accomplishments that you're making there in Harbor Springs, especially in these unprecedented times. In regards to Blue Cross, I'm not sure, did you know that our enterprise actually pays out an average of $71 million per day into our healthcare economy? That's a large number, and we take this role very seriously. We want to make sure we maintain access to care, not only for our members, but also for our communities. We applaud the efforts and sacrifice of our provider partners in 2020. They definitely saved lives, and Blue Cross is pleased to support their heroic response to COVID-19 behind the scenes. Early in the pandemic, we advanced payments to healthcare systems totaling more than $680 million to make sure that revenue kept flowing as providers closed some of their services, such as elective surgeries and things like that, that would normally bring in income. We wanted to make sure that they still had cash flow to be able to continue providing that care for those COVID-19 patients. We also devoted $1.3 billion in response to the pandemic, including absorbing member cost sharing, providing premium refunds to some group customers, and rebating premiums to individual members. As I mentioned, members did not have to pay cost sharing for COVID-19 treatment in the form of copays, deductibles, and coinsurance. And we also paid for the FDA-approved physician-authorized testing of COVID-19, as well as now the vaccinations. And we recently announced that we are extending that through September 30th of this year. So we will reevaluate that again as we approach fall to see if it needs to be continued or if it will end at that time. So we'll just see what happens. Blue Cross did create an employer toolkit for COVID-19. So if there are any employers out there that want to look at that toolkit, it is available on our website. I'll tell you the website now, but Bonnie, I can forward you this information so you have it available and you can disseminate it out as you see fit. But it's www.bcbsm.com and then /engage. And that engage page has a lot of great toolkits and resources for employers. And you don't necessarily have to offer Blue Cross to be able to access that page. So there's lots of resources on there for anyone available. The other thing I wanted to mention is that if anyone that has Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan, if they have it through a small group or it's an individual policy, they also have access to a program called My Strength. And we partnered with Livongo, which is a company that focuses on mental health. And it's really focused on your well-being and any mental health concerns that someone may have, or maybe it's a family member. So that is another program that Blue Cross recently implemented. It started in 2021. And again, it's at no cost to the member. They can find those resources right on their member portal when they sign in to Blue Cross. So I just wanted to mention that. And then lastly, March is Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month. So we're encouraging all of those folks over 50 to talk to their doctor about getting screened. And we also have some information on that I'll forward to Bonnie that she can distribute. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lynn. So I want to thank everyone who attended and participated today. Michael, Margo, Victor, Jen, Kyle, and Lynn. We really appreciate the updates and hearing where we will be headed in this coming year. Lots of exciting things going on, and we so look forward to it here at the Chamber and within Harbor Springs. Those of you who may have joined late, we want you to know we did record today, so we will put that out on our social media and future newsletter. And if you have any questions for any of our presenters today, please feel free to send those to me. If there's anything specific, I'm happy to send them along to our presenters. My email is director@harborspringschamber.com. You can always find us on our website at harborspringschamber.com. Thank you so much again, everyone, for being here. It's been a really wonderful Thursday morning, and I hope that next year we will be able to be back face to face, either with breakfast or lunch or something, and that will be a really wonderful event. Thank you all again for coming and for watching. We appreciate your support. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Bonnie.
Thank you.